pleasure to present the audit report for fiscal year 2011 for Creighton Elementary School District. Our audit fieldwork was completed actually for this fiscal year in early November of 2011, and it was completed in a timely manner, and that's thanks to Scott Walmer and his department, who worked very closely with us to get this completed. There's actually 3 parts to your audit. We have the comprehensive annual financial report, which is submitted for your ASBO award for financial performance. We have a single audit reporting package, which is based on your federal awards that we are required to report on your performance for that. And then we have the USFR compliance questionnaire, which is required by the Auditor General's office. Within these, I'd like to discuss and just kind of do in between Mary Dell and I will go over kind of a brief description of them. Your comprehensive annual financial report, which is submitted for your ASBO award, actually has some different parts in it. There's a transmittal letter, which is kind of a brief overview and gives the district an opportunity to discuss your district and kind of what makes you stand out above the other ones. We also have the independent auditor's report, for which it gives the opinion, which is unqualified, which is the best that you can do as far as the financial reporting. Then there's the MD&A, or the management's discussion and analysis portion of it. This section gives the district the opportunity to discuss why there's changes in the report from one year to the other, what's causing increase or decrease in specific areas, and that sort of thing. Then we have the basic financial statements, and it shows your government-wide statements, which are on page 18 and 19. Then you have your balance sheet, which it looks like this year you had as far as your major funds were the general fund, your Title I grant fund, debt service fund, bond building fund, and then you have your non-majors, which are the other funds that you have within the district that are in aggregate. There's a balance sheet, and then we have the statement of revenue, expenditures, and changes in your fund balance. The other sections include, starting on page 48 and 49, it starts with giving the differences in your budget to actual. And then we move into showing your non-major special revenue funds, just as single funds individually. After that, it shows the budget to actual for each of those we present. And then we move into your capital funds, which it shows the individuals for your non-majors and for capital funds, and then the budget to actual for those areas. The last information that is actually presented in this is the statistical section, which gives some more individual information on your district, and this is also a section that's provided strictly because you go for the ASBO award, and this is what portion that is required for that. Are there any questions over this portion of your reporting packages?
If I may ask briefly, what is it? Do all school districts get the ASBO award? What are the criteria for that? Are there districts that get an audit that do not get that?
There are some that cannot get that. There's certain criteria that they request. There's actually a listing that they put out, and within that listing, then you're asked to provide certain documentation for those specific ones. And there, like I said, there's a list of those, and it's up to us and to work with the district to make sure that each one of those criteria are met so that you are able to obtain the award. But yes, there are times when there are districts that do not obtain that.
And then just to kind of touch on that question a little bit too, it's definitely something that the district should be commended for in order to go out for those awards. It's definitely something that requires a lot more information provided by the school district, definitely quite a bit more information that needs to be compiled, and it's certainly something that comes with more distinction rather than just preparing your standard requested audited financial statements. So the district should definitely be commended for being awarded these additional achievements for the past few years. In addition to the CAFR, an item that the district is required to submit is the single audit reporting package. As I mentioned, if the district expends over $500,000 in federal awards, you're required to have certain federal programs audited to determine that you're meeting the requirements of those federal monies. For the school district, in FY 10-11, there were 4 programs reviewed. There was the State Fiscal Stabilization Fund money, the Special Education Cluster program was reviewed, the Child Nutrition Cluster, and then also the Improving Teacher Quality Grant. So those 4 items were reviewed in great detail to determine not only did the district spend the money correctly, but were all the specific compliance requirements of that program met. In these findings, in this summary of auditor's results, it's to be noted that there were no financial statement findings in these areas, and also there were also no findings related to those federal awards. So definitely something for the district to be commended on, that there were no findings as related to these items. Kind of moving on into the USFR compliance questionnaire briefly. This is the document that is required to be provided to the Auditor General's office in order for them to determine how compliant is the district in the requirements that they have issued. It kind of touches basically on everything from your budget requirements, student attendance, classroom site, student activities, and so forth. So definitely quite a few different areas that we come in and review those areas to determine your compliance. Just briefly, the last page is what summarizes your findings. There were 14 comments noted. Of the 14, it looks like the more prevalent areas were in procurement and or student attendance. Those items definitely just kind of more compliance related things that can definitely be rectified, and just a few items here and there that moving forward can really be addressed. But just for the district to kind of keep in mind is in the prior fiscal year there were 17 comments noted, and in 2009 there were 19. So we have seen a definitely improvement through the past 3 years that the district's progressing towards meeting those compliance requirements even further. So definitely something for the district to be commended, and again, thank you so much for all of the district's staff to help us to complete the audit in a timely manner. So at this point, if you have any questions, certainly address those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item is approval of approval of consent.
I move that we pull item 6H from the consent agenda for consideration separately.
I'm sorry. Second.
Okay. You want to make a motion to accept the other consent agenda items?
I move that we accept all consent agenda items minus agenda item H.
So how about this?
H, I can't find where the motion is written, I'm sorry. I'm picking it up. There we go. Okay, I move the governing board consent agenda items A through G in accordance with policy BEDB-R be approved.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. For discussion, we have item 6H.